Hi, it's Thomas from What's on My Mind, and in this video, I want to talk a little bit about my hats because that's just me. That is part of me. So you might not, you probably have noticed that in the past couple of videos, I've been wearing the same hat, which this is a lovely piece. This is an Australian sheep's wool. It's modeled. I think I always say it's modeled after a U.S. Army campaign hat from the 1850s, but I now realize that that could be viewed as uh, not a correct assumption of what this hat is. I usually just call a wide rim hat or like a fedora because it's kind of a fedora, but not really. Um, but I just like hats, and there's nothing against liking hats, unless obviously you have a strong dislike for hats, which is understandable. Some people don't like hats, or some people think that they are out of place, and I get that. Uh, and obviously, I'm not trying to go into uh, religious head coverings, which obviously, if you cover your head for religious purposes, that is completely up to your beliefs, and I am not going to say anything negative about that. In fact, more power to you. You are expressing your beliefs you're expressing your beliefs, and it is in the United States, that is a fundamental right that we are guaranteed by the Constitution. Freedom of religion and freedom of expression. But more on hats. I like them. They are important to me for so many reasons. My Probably my favorite is this one. I wear this one a lot. Sorry, that was something flying across my desk. And I just really enjoy the feel of this hat. It's got a nice, try not to show the tag, which is kind of hard. It's got a very nice sweatband. You can tell that the sweatband is very worn in the front from a lot of wear and a lot of use. It's a very, it fits my head very well. And it wasn't even really that expensive in comparison to some other forms of headwear. This hat was $55. I'm just gonna say that. This is a $55 hat. I bought it at an outdoor store. I'm not going to say which one, because I don't want this video to get demonetized or for the algorithm to recommend that in the comments or in the description. But it's a great hat, and I've used this for campouts. I've used this for marching band practice. From my last video, you probably know that from one of my previous videos, you probably know that I did marching band in high school. And this is one of the hats I have currently with me. Obviously, I'm wearing it. One of the other ones I have is this one. And this one is one of my favorites as well. You can tell that they're both green. I really like the color green. I like the color green for many reasons, but also because it matches my pants that I'm currently wearing. And if you've watched the other videos that I've posted, you'll see that all the videos are on the exact same day or recorded in the exact same location. I'm wearing the exact same thing because they were all recorded on the same day. And my pants right now are green. They're the same color as my hat. Look, they match, or kind of. These are more lighter olive green, and this is an olive drab. This is a U.S. Army hat. It's called a Jeep cap, or I think a model 1941 hat. If I've gotten that wrong, please comment down below and say the correct name. I don't want to tick off any uh, World War II reenactors or veterans who actually know what this headwear's actual name is called. I'm going to call it a Jeep cap because that's what I know it as. And if you've seen the show MASH, obviously, side profile Radar O'Reilly wearing this hat is a very well-known well-known screen appearance of this specific sombrero, which is hat in Spanish, or gorra, which is baseball cap. I also have some other more unique types of hats. I have three berets. I have a couple of the like yachting captain's hats that you get at nautical themed shops. I've got a Sailor's Dixie Cup cover for Sailor's Dress Whites, also purchased at an antique. Also purchased at a um, what is it? At a surplus store. I have a cheese hat that I got at that I got at a store in Wisconsin, United States, which you know what I'm talking about. It's the big wedge of cheese that has the hole in it to store a bowl of chips and a couple of drinks and a couple of cans of soda or a speaker or I don't know a red Solo cup holding chips for the to stick in the center. It really needs three holes, but you don't really even need more than that if you're watching I don't know, a Super Bowl or a football game or something. But another one of the hats I have one that I purchased a uh, at a retail store a number of years ago when I was probably about 4. I always call that my men's department hat because I got that from the men's department at uh, insert retail store that may or may no longer exist. And then I've got some other like just baseball hats. I've got I've got new Shanka just because they're cool and they're warm. I've got a hat that I purchased in New York at a one of those New York souvenir stands that are literally everywhere. And yeah, I did a hat census, which yes is a thing at one point, and I determined that I had probably between 75 and 85 hats, which is a lot. I know. It's a collection. I have a bit of an obsession um with headgear, with headwear. And I mean some other funny ones. I've got a chicken hat that looks like a chicken head. I've got a hot dog hat that my sister gave me for she actually gave it to my dad, but it was gifted to me by him, kind of. That one's just funny. Uh that she purchased kind of as a joke. I have let's see. I've got a couple of Boy Scout hats. One of the berets I have is a Boy Scout beret from the 70s, which is really cool. Bought that at an antique mall. And there's a common theme with some of these videos. You'll hear me mention antique malls or going to thrift stores. I like doing that. It doesn't make me weird. It's a fun hobby. I have a I like the I like the process of going to a place where it's almost like a treasure hunt. And you can stand there or walk around browsing the aisles, the cubicles, the cubbies, the booths, as they're often referred to, and just look. Look for things that are out of the ordinary. Look for things that are cool. Look for things that make you think. Look for things that you like. Look for things that you don't like. if you look for things that you don't like, you'll find more things that you like. Um, uh, you can find literally anything at an antique mall. I have found I have found golf clubs. I have found swords. I don't own any swords. I have found weapons. I have found military headdress, all manner of clothing, vintage, non-vintage. I found an entire set of firefighters turnout gear at an antique mall, military uniforms, collectibles, clocks, watches, typewriters, old books, keys, old cameras, uh, old old hand tools, uh, insert something that was made between 50 and 70, between 50 and X number of years ago. You can probably find it at either an antique mall or a garage sale or a thrift store or a yard sale, just or a uh, or on eBay. Just you can find so much stuff. eBay is the best place to find random nonsense that no one needs, but still you can find a place for in your life. And I love that about antiquing and about just the idea of going to a place where you can acquire an object that is significant to you as a person or your interests in some way. That is just something that makes me very, very, very happy. I don't know why. It just makes me really happy. Um, Another thing is hats are a the perfect accompaniment to what you're wearing. The One of the original uses for a hat was, well, to keep the sun off of you, but it was a fashion statement. Stuck a feather in his cap and called it macaroni. Macaroni is a feather. It was a most likely a yellow, or it was a it was an ornamental feather. I'm not going to say that it was yellow because uh I'm not an expert on colonial or 18th century or 17th century fashion, but the song Yankee Doodle does come from that. And when I've got, because I also like reenacting, and when I've gone to large scale historical interpreting uh, locations and have purchased hats, they one thing that they said when I bought my tricord at Colonial Williamsburg, not sponsored, uh, was, "Would you like a macaroni with this?" And or would you like some decoration for this tricorn? And I said no because I wanted to keep it as a more traditional, solid black felt, uh, leather or solid black felt three pointed hat uh, with leather banding on the two sides and on the rear. If you're thinking about an isosceles triangle, it would be here, then here, and here. So I'm pointing with my nose. But model with it's hard to model with the resources I have with me right now. But it it is such a an essential part of the wardrobe for me and from history and for most of human history. Men wore hats, women wore hats, people wore hats. and and hat styles have obviously changed. I'm not going to walk into a I'm not going to walk into a venue or an event or a party dressed as a cavalier with a really wide brim hat with a massive plume on it, because that would be out of place. But a costume party, yes. A fancy event, probably. Although I'd more likely go to a fancy event wearing a 1930s or 1920s style evening suit or evening tux or white tie and tails with a top hat and a cane. Because not many people realize this, but I am kind of obsessed with fashion. Well, not really obsessed with fashion, but looking, I like having decent style. I would say that my style is very modern, but I don't really wear jeans. I don't like jeans. I don't like sweatpants. I don't really like wearing shorts. Just that's a personal reason. I will if I absolutely need to, but for me, it's a lot of tie dye and it's tie dye and sweatshirts mainly with a pair of like cargo pants or with a pair of cargo pants, a pair of dress pants, a pair of dress slacks. Really, just it's probably formal from the waist down and informal from the waist up. I wear a dress belt just because I can, and they're good. Because it's the only belt I have that isn't actively falling apart. It's the only nice belt that I have that isn't actively falling apart. I've got other belts. I've got uniform belts that I don't wear often. I got web belts that I don't wear often because those are usually just based for Boy Scout uniforms. But I'd say that generally I have a um not I have a I do have a sense of what is and what isn't uh good to what isn't comfortable to wear. I am comfortable in a t- I'm comfortable in a long sleeve shirt all day. I'm comfortable in a sweatshirt all day. I like wearing sweatshirts because a they just have a large pocket in the front so I can store stuff. But and they can show off all manner of things. The sweatshirt can say literally anything. But I also like fleeces. I wear a lot of fleeces. And I mean, whether it be a 3/4 zip, a quarter zip, uh, not a 3/4 zip, a full like light jacket, a quarter zip, a half zip, a turtleneck sweater. I have two turtleneck sweaters because I really like them. They're very handy when I perform music, but they're not. But I don't wear them that much. And while they are comfortable and I love them dearly, they're just not really what I wear on a day-to-day basis. But I think that, and it's not really about matching with what I'm wearing. That's just not my thing. I don't, I wear matching socks. I wear matching socks. I always wear the same pair of shoes. My winter jacket is blue, so usually it's like blue on the top, green on the bottom, and then I'm wearing a green hat usually, unless I wear a red hat just to stand out. And yeah, I just hats are a fashion statement, and by making a fashion statement while wearing a hat, you can become more connected to yourself. You can become more connected to your style. Uh, you can show off. I know that for a lot of high school, there was a rule against non-religious headwear for fairly obvious reasons, although they were a little bit annoying at the time. Uh, and that also kind of bandanas, and I like wearing tie-dye bandanas because that's just me. Because you don't really know, but I have fairly long hair, and bandanas just help keep my hair organized. But yeah, it's not like I have really thought about much about my hat wearing preferences. I wear baseball hats. I wear I wear this one backwards more times than I can count because backwards it looks like a winter hat. It just looks like a winter hat with a brim with like a brim on the back, and that's I mean it might look unusual to some, it might not, but it's just a nice hat. I like wearing it. I have a good range of motion in it, and I also like it because it reduces glare. And I've obviously very large glasses, and my vision is not very good. Um, the like just my my I do not have the best vision, so having and I really don't like having bright light constantly in my eyes, especially the sun. Um, I have fairly significant light sensitivity, and I get migraines. Uh, Not often, but I do have light induced and light sensitive migraines. And having and wearing a hat that prevents or uh, helps to block light from entering my field of view is very important to me, and I like that. But yeah, I've talked for 21 minutes about hats, and that's just, I like hats. And feel free to like and share and subscribe. Leave me a comment down below if you are also um, if you are also, I don't even know what the term is for a hat fanatic. Uh, if you also have a larger than, if you also have a, uh, if you also have a hat collection of a good size or of a large size, please leave me a comment down below. Say roughly how many of them you have. Uh, I will be impressed having because keeping a collection of items is human nature because we obviously love to collect things, and I'm a collector myself of many different things. I have a collection of pencils, mechanical pencils, typewriters, books. I have a lot of books. I have a collection of vinyl that I truly adore. And yeah, so like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching What's on My Mind. I'm Thomas. I'll catch you in the next video.